What's up, YouTube? This is DEFCON 3 Security coming at you from somewhere here on Spaceship Earth. So, I cracked my other phone. This little crack right here, it's a Galaxy G8X ThinQ. It's a pretty awesome phone. So you see the little crack right there? Awesome in the sense that you take this phone, right? And then you take this case right here. You slide the phone into this case, and boom, it becomes a dual screen phone. So you could, and then this closes, of course. Really, really cool, cool phone. But I cracked the little screen right here, and the thing is completely black. Not only that, but I cannot pull the data off there. It started off as like a bluish tone, then it started getting worse and worse. And within an hour, I couldn't even see anything on the screen. So now I'm using my old phone. I really don't know how the quality of this video is going to be. I do know that as I'm recording, when I talk to you guys, my lips move slower than what I'm actually talking. Like there's a delay, put it that way, okay? So I don't know how this video is going to turn out, but I did want to put a video out. Having said that, one of the DEFCON community channel subscribers asked me a question a couple weeks ago. What do you think about allied security? And then I really didn't respond because I didn't know what to say. I've never worked for allied security. That would be like somebody saying, what do you think of working at Best Buys? I mean, I can give you some basic insight of what I've seen whenever I go into a Best Buy store, but having never worked for them, I really couldn't tell you much. Then they messaged me again and said, hey, what do you think of allied security? And at this point, I'm like, dude, I really don't know. Like, what can I tell you? I mean, go for it, right? But I stopped and thought for a while. I'm like, wait a minute, let me approach this differently. Okay, allied security, they are one of the biggest security companies in the United States. And so then I started thinking, okay, well, what kind of advice or what could I tell this person about allied security, having never had any sort of experience working for them? You know, I actually did come up with an answer. My answer is working for a giant security company, somebody that is as big as Allied, can be really awesome, but it can also absolutely suck. And again, having never worked for them, this is somewhat of an educated guess, but these are my thoughts. Maybe you guys can chime in as well. Okay, so when you work for a huge security company, you're most likely going to get benefits. Your pay is going to be somewhat competitive. There's going to be room to grow as it is a big company and they need supervisors and managers and accountants, and you know, there's potential to grow. There's probably even a corporate side of allied security given the fact they are so big. Whereas when you work for a small company, there's not really much room to grow. You know, you've got like 10 people working for that company. You've got the owner, the accountant, maybe an instructor and a supervisor, and then the rest are guards. I mean, there's no potential for growth. Okay, so benefit-wise, a big company like Allied, I'm sure they have like programs where you can get discounts on certain firearms and classes available for people that want to do in-house training, or maybe even free classes because they are that big. A small company, maybe not. You know, they're not going to have any sort of affiliate programs where if you work for them, you get discounts for car rentals, things like that. So those are some of the things that sort of bounce around in my head. Like, yeah, you know, the advantages of working for a big company like them might be awesome in the sense that, again, there's room for growth. And then there's also potential to have like discounts and things, affiliate programs, etc. But there's also another side to it. When you work for a big company like Allied, they do things down to the T. You might find that your daily activity log will look nothing like the one that I currently have at my smaller company. Right? At my smaller company, I write inspected back of building, no suspicious activity to report. Or I'll write something like checked vehicles in parking lot, nothing unusual to report. 10 o'clock. 11 o'clock. Walked to the soda machine, heard a noise, investigated, nothing to report. And that's it, right? Sufficient for my company. They're like, that's cool, as long as you wrote something. A bigger company like Allied, man, they might want some huge daily activity log because they are more professional and they want more documentation. So you might find yourself writing these huge reports every day and you're like, dude, this is driving me absolutely crazy. I mean, what can I possibly fill out on this daily activity report, you know? So instead of saying something like, walk to the soda machine, no suspicious activity, you might have to write 7 p.m., proceeded to go to the soda machine, saw a male suspect, blah, 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 possibly 35 years old, not being, you get it, right? It's going to be like extremely extended, and they're going to really get on your case about making it completely thorough because they are one of those bigger companies that hold you to a different standard as far as like documentation, so that they can take that documentation and give it to the clientele. So you're going to find yourself writing a lot. Whereas a smaller company, you might just find yourself kicking back all day. At the end of the day, you punch out and that's it. Not as formal, right? With a bigger company, you will probably have some sort of GPS tracking on your phone or on your person. And they're going to keep track of your movement and make sure that you hit all of these corners at certain times a day. I've seen bigger companies do that all the time. And if you guys know me and have heard some of my last videos, I absolutely hate companies that make you scan a barcode as you walk around the building so that they know that you are actually walking around that building. My company doesn't do that. My company is sort of based on an honor system. They are under the assumption that as a guard, I hold myself to a higher standard and that I do go around that building every single day and make sure everything is secure. But a bigger company, they don't care about an honor system. They might have you walk around and say, hey, man, and I've had another company do this, by the way. Hey, we've been watching a GPS. It doesn't seem like you are moving that much the last few days. Are you okay? Have you been sitting in your car? And that would drive me absolutely crazy. I hated that whole GPS mechanism because it wasn't accurate. There'd be days where I would be sitting in my vehicle and then I would go walk around the perimeter, but the area that I was patrolling was only the size of a small Walmart, and the GPS wasn't accurate enough to see me walking around. And they would ask me, hey, did you walk around? And I'm thinking, yes, of course I did. I walked around quite a few times. Okay, well, our GPS isn't picking it up. And I'm thinking like, dude, damn you and your GPS. Like, I swear I was walking around. Why would I not? I mean, obviously I had to go to the bathroom at some points and in that 10-hour shift, and you guys didn't see that as well. No, we didn't see you get out of your vehicle. Well, I don't know what to tell you, right? A bigger company might have supervisors do spot checks on you every couple of days. I've had this at other companies. I'm sitting there and they come up, all right, we're doing a uniform check. So they come up to you and okay, you've got your boots, pants, kind of faded. Black pants are faded, so let's give you a mark on that. And smaller companies, they don't worry about that. As a matter of fact, at this company I work at now, I put on another bulletproof vest that looked a little different. I didn't have to get an okay from my supervisor or anything because, they really don't care. It's like, all right, as long as you look like a security guard, you have your badge, we're not really worried about what your uniform looks like. And that's another thing. Bigger companies, they're going to have you possibly have their uniform down to a T. So let's say somebody like Allied, they're going to have gray on black, and then they're going to have you wear like a red patch or whatever they do, right? And then if you wanted to put on a vest, they might be they would have an objection to that. They'll say, no, our company policy, we don't allow bulletproof vests. Man, I'm telling you, if that's the case, I'm bouncing. There's no way I'm going to work for any security company if they don't let me wear a vest for my protection. Because at the end of the day, I want to go home to my family, and the only way to improve the odds is by wearing a vest. So a smaller company, they wouldn't care as much. They're like, yeah, you know, if you want a vest, go for it, man. So again, I have no experience working for Allied, and these are all just fictitious examples. But I wanted to sort of answer your question. And I think in some regards, this could be somewhat accurate. A little bit of my life experience there too, you know, working for bigger companies. I did notice this trend. I've never worked for anybody as big as Allied, but I can only imagine that it would be the same. I've worked for a big box retailer, and I know I had a lot of protocols, whereas when I worked for a smaller retail place, there wasn't all these protocols put in place. So just, you know, something that to think about if you want to go with a big company. I'd prefer to find that middle ground company, somebody that's not too big, not too small, that's willing to work with your hours, willing to allow you to have some flexibility in the way you dress, you know, in the shoes you wear. At this new post, I'm really thinking about starting to wear some black tennis shoes versus my combat boots, because I'm like, you know, what's the use having combat boots on that hurt my feet all day when I'm sitting in a vehicle for the most part? And gosh forbid, if something happened, I want to be able to run, and these combat boots hold me back. At a bigger company, you might not have that option. They're going to tell you, sorry, man, that's just part of the uniform, right? So, yeah, there you go, guys. Really, again, I don't know how well this video is going to come out on this phone. This is an older LG phone. I'm using it temporarily. I'm literally, right in front of me is a big screen, and I'm looking at like Samsung Galaxy 10 and a couple other phones out there to replace this one that I cracked. But there you go. All right, guys. So hope that answered your question, or at least gave you some direction to go with. Hey, listen, know your value, know your worth, value your time, and above all, guys, please, please, please be safe.